Good morning. It's Creek and Trail prep day. Well, prep weekend anyways. We got Luke in the background going mad with the bubbles. Anybody that knows me know that I have now lost my god dang mind and I'm watering my lawn. It's not a thing I'm certainly known for, but I planted all this and it's actually turning out fairly good. I've got some spots yet that I need to fill in, but there's no pump house anymore. It's backfilled. I built the deck. That's Sarah's tire swing. I built when she was in grade school. Oh, look, I'm actually watering and mowing. Normally I mow my place like twice a year. I think I mowed it once every week, all of May, and yeah, I think I mowed my lawn like 6 times this year. Yeah. So, anyway, so the car is off getting sealed today. Sorry about the wind, it's windy. Lakeview's known for wind. We'll get in the garage here. So the car's off getting epoxy sealed today. I was planning on painting it myself, but I bought a gun and it was garbage. Wouldn't spray at all, hardly. Just even the primer. And I don't have the money to go find another new gun and prep and waste product and all that stuff. So I've got a friend that is going to seal it for me. And we're going to go at it that way. So right now, we're in the garage working on the Buggy. Creek and Trail's coming up just a couple weeks away, and I need to get this thing ready to go. It was ready to go as is. I didn't need to really do anything. Luke's lost his mind. He's playing though. Anyway, so it was ready to go. I could have drove it as is, but we had one mishap at the dunes. Actually, a couple mishaps. One, I lost a power cutoff switch. It melted, so I needed to replace that. And then I've had issues since I put this together. I ran these LED lights in the grill, and they work fine, except for on low beam, they are right in the middle of this bar. So they worked like garbage. And then the high beams are pointed so far up that you couldn't see anything. So I needed lights. So I added the light bar and the 2 light pods. And I had to get those wired in. So I've got those wired in. I added a new switch. Cleaned up my ignition switch. I'll be back. Alright, we're back. Had to help the grandson. Anyways, so I've set up so the headlights and those 2 3-inch pods will work on low beam, and the light bar is high beam. So I have much better lights now. I also found out that when I wired this initially, I have an issue. So the PCM is set to turn on the fans for the radiator and the tranny cooler. And for whatever reason, the tranny cooler doesn't kick on until it's way hotter than it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go ahead and reset that fan so it turns on. I noticed at the dunes it was getting pretty hot. My fluid's not burnt or anything, which is good, but I don't think it's been working ever. So we're going to fix that so the fan on the tranny cooler kicks on when it's supposed to. We're going to finish cleaning up these. Some of it is going to be the way it is, but I've got to tie up some of these wires and get them cleaned up. So we can do cricket drill. That's Father's Day weekend, O'Brien, Oregon. It follows the old Paragon Trail, which is it used to be the trail from the Rogue Valley to the Oregon coast at Smith River, deep water port. Now it's just a trail that the Forest Service keeps trying to close. So that's what we're going to do. I will kind of set up the camera and let you watch, and we'll see where we go. Okay, so this is what I've done. That's my fuel pump. What I have done is I've moved my tranny cooler fan on a momentary switch. So this side, the PCM, controls the fan, and then this side is just a ground switch that controls the solenoid, or the relay, sorry. The reason I did that is under normal crawling and stuff, the PCM cycles that fan on and off, and it works good. But I noticed that this last weekend in the dunes that cycling it on and off isn't enough, and so I want the option to crank that up when we're using it hard, and being able to keep that tranny nice and cool. So I've about got that. I've got some wire to tidy up, and then I'm going to build a heat shield for my leg right down there. So I'm gonna go grab a new battery and bring it back, and we'll get that stuck in there. Well, I screwed up again. I thought I set the camera, and for whatever reason it didn't do anything. So it's a new day. I made a lot of progress. Some of it I didn't film. Well, a lot of it I didn't film. I have Creek and Trail coming up and limited time, and so I just had to get stuff done. But let me run through it real quick. So obviously we have the roof and the windshield off. That'll allow us to see better. When I left you, I was putting in a heat shield for my legs so I didn't fry. That went in fairly easily. You might be able to see it up there. I did bump stops and lights. So that's what the front looks like now. I should be able to see. These are the bump stops I did. Yes, I know they're not air bumps. I don't need air bumps. I don't go fast enough to worry about air bumps. And Mackenzie's running these on his buggy, and they work really good, and they're cheap. Where I would have had to put air bumps, I just didn't like the placement of them, and these are a cheap option, even though I have a perfectly good set of $300 air bumps sitting on the shelf now. I bought them from a company, and they're massive. They're super big round. They're 3-inch, and I didn't want to give up that kind of travel. So these crush about 1.5 inches, and actually they're fairly smooth. I mean, it's rubber, so it's not like an air bump where it's progressive. This is it's a fairly abrupt, but for what I'm doing, they'll be fine. And like I said, cheap, quick, easy. They're on. It'll be much more comfortable. I won't destroy my shocks. So there's that. I just built stands for them. Super basic bracket. Nothing hits, nothing rubs. They're just truck rear bump stops. Super basic. On the rear, what I've got to do today, I've got to stick these in. On these, I have on the rear links, I don't know if you can see the movement. It's not so bad, that one. This one's pretty bad. You can see how much that, probably can't see it. So these links went through the fire, and the rod ends got melted out. Not enough to destroy the metal, but enough to deform enough in that rod end that I don't like them. So we're going to pull them out. Eventually the rears are going to have to get replaced with aluminum, but it's not in the budget right now. So right now I got myself some Barnes ends. They're super beefy, and it'll be quick and easy. All I've got to do is whack those off, set those in, weld them up, and let them cool, put them together, and away we go. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. So let's get at it. Just left my buddy's house a little bit ago, and big things have happened on the car. So I started to prime my car, and my gun failed miserably in the primer process, and it made it impossible for me to get it painted in my time frame on my own. So I had a friend help me with that part of it. We prepped the car, got it all ready. Obviously, you guys saw the body work we did, or most of it, some of it. So I got it in primer. We got it wet sanded, and all you had to do was shoot it with sealer and throw some color on it. And it looks, compared to what it looked like before, I'm okay with how it looks. It looks good. I'm super happy. So Brody, if you're watching this, thanks, man. Turned a sow's ear into a silk purse. So all I'm doing here is just popping these lower link arms off so I can get an accurate measurement, get them cut, get the ends ground, and weld those new inserts in. This is for suckers. Let me get a gun. And a dead battery. Why wouldn't we? honest, when you need something done quick, it takes twice as long. Nope. This is no exception. How was everybody's Memorial weekend? You guys have a good time? Do anything cool? If you haven't, you should watch our last video. Buggy's dominated the sand at Christmas Valley this year. Really happy with that. First time that either of ours have been on the sand at all, since the builds at least. And I will say, the only issue I had were relatively minor. No serious problems whatsoever. May have made a little bit of a lip here. Yeah, gonna have to clearance that when I put that back together. fight me every inch of the way. All right. That's what we're dealing with. Okay. That's our new rod end. What we need to do is measure this center to center. Doesn't have to be super perfect because this end has adjustment, this end did not, but we want to get it close. I figure I'm going to start with maybe, what is that? An inch of thread showing. An inch is a lot. That's an inch in and an inch out. So, center to center. Center of the hole is the center of the hole. Like we're 42 and a half. Mark on my chalkboard. 42.5. Can't lose my floor. All right, we got that lined up, and so from center of that hole is 5 inches. So come off here, balance this, balance the tape measure precariously on top here, and we do our scientific best to get 5 inches. That gets us close. Okay. I'm going to cut it and come back. You don't want to hear the cutting. adjustable, or the non-adjustable builder end, which is still, I can use it on something. I won't throw it away, but it's pretty roached. So, you know, if you're going to build maybe a track bar or something to mock something up, this would be good for it. But for my buggy, not happy with it. But that's all I did. So whacked it off there, drop that. There's an insert here. This has a gob of threads. So you can see I can stretch this quite a ways. So when you're doing these, obviously this one's a left-handed thread, the other one's right-handed thread. When you put these in for good, use a fair amount of anti-seize. You'd be surprised at how much water, even with welds, good welds and everything, you can see how much threads there are on there. There's a long-winded, I'm pretty impressed with these Barnes joints. We'll see how the cast section works. It looks like they're forged rather than cast, but I don't know that for sure. But they are long-winded. But you don't want to weld. You don't want to weld these in because you'll gall the threads if you weld them with the joints in. So what I do is I'll just weld that, drill a couple holes for a bung or for a rosette weld, and that'll never go anywhere. That's the same way that all the lengths are done on this. For now, like I said, back to what I was saying, when these are installed, even installed, if you don't put anti-seize on them, we're in the desert. It doesn't rain a bunch, but mud, snow, you know, it happens. And you'd be amazed at how far up these threads water will travel and make it next to impossible to get them out of here. So lube, lube, lube. Tons of anti-seize. Well, I'm gonna weld these up and I'll bring it back. Looks like I need to change batteries. Alright, so what I do now is I let this cool, and then I'll pop a couple holes in there and plug weld that like I did the other one. Grinder clean, and then we'll let this cool all the way down before I thread the insert back in it. And like I said, lots and lots of anti-seize. And then we'll stick it back in, and I believe we are good to go for creek and trail. I don't think I have anything else other than an oil change and like 4 zip ties. I gotta zip tie my brake lines back up to the front axle where I removed them to weld those bump stop perches up. I checked all the fluids and stuff before we left for the dunes on Memorial Weekend, so that's all fine. So we're basically ready to rock. So yeah, I think we're pretty good. So without further ado, I'm gonna shut it off, and we'll bring it back when we install this back on the other side. Alrighty. I do believe we're ready to roll. I'm going to change the oil because I haven't done it since I put it together, and this motor had a bunch of miles on it, and it smokes a bunch. But we got my links in. Those are done. Got the fans hooked up. I'll show you a cross-side view of the lights so you don't get blinded. But I do have lights now that function and we can see with them. So the only thing left to do now is pack her stuff, and I got to make a back for Luke, because Luke's going to ride with us in the buggy. His car seat fits back here fairly good, but there's no back, so we got to make a back for him to sit on so he's not sitting up all the time. But other than that, it'll be me and Grandpa Jerry and Luke running around in the buggy. We shut this off. Super happy. It's good to get these things done. I just kind of bombed it around the yard, and those bumps, you can feel them. I mean, like I said, it's not as smooth as a air bump would be, but you can definitely tell it's not bottoming out the shock anymore, which is a bonus. And you can definitely cruise a lot quicker. We did have a minor issue. I may have left the hood unlatched, and it may have met the met the roll cage at speed. Oops. It's alright. Gives it character. But yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, oil change. See? Next week this time, we'll be headed to Roseburg to meet up with my father. And then Friday to O'Brien. And then Saturday on the trail. That should be fun. Alright guys. I got some big news coming up in the next one. Has to do with orange, but not on the buggy. So by now you've probably seen a short for it, but it's not put together yet. But keep watching, it's gonna be cool. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, share. As of this recording, we're at 97 subs. So almost to 100. Kind of cool. I never thought 10 people would want to watch my stuff, let alone 100. So I'm happy with that. That'd be cool if it was 10,000 or 100,000. I'm getting old. Not gonna lie. If I could become a YouTube regular guy that got paid for it, that'd make me happy. All right, man. We'll see you soon. Talk to you on the next one. Bye.